Let's now cross to SABC News senior reporter Samkele Maseko, who's been monitoring those developments there for us and following this story. Samkele, a very good afternoon to you. So a lot of questions around, of course, what we're seeing today and hearing. So are there indications that this high-level dialogue will likely see dramatic improvements within municipalities, especially in light of just the concerns of the poor audit outcomes in municipalities, as mentioned earlier there by the Auditor General?
Indeed, Unati, it's going to be rather interesting on what is the final draft or final proposals that are ultimately tabled to the National Assembly when it comes to this particular review of the white paper on local government, particularly around the funding model, the remuneration of councillors. Already you've got many South Africans complaining that politicians are earning a lot within the country, but little is said about how much councillors earn in a local municipality like Endumeni, or you go to a local municipality like Umshwati in the Umgungundlovu district, and other municipalities like Moempofana as well. But I'm going to bring in Minister Velenkosini Hlabisa just to speak about the various proposals that are coming to the fore after your engagements. The AG raised the issue of competency, particularly on the understanding of the roles of the speakers in their role in crafting of the integrated development plan, the IDPs, and also the mayors having a thorough understanding of the balance sheet and also the remuneration of councillors.
Thank you very much. Indeed, our engagement with all political parties in South Africa has been a good exchange of views. Political parties were clear that if you want to make municipalities function to the maximum, the funding model must be changed. There must be a similar approach in terms of how you fund the national government, the provincial government, and the local government. Secondly, professionalization of staff. The local government space, there is too much politicization when it comes to the employment of MMs and all other senior managers. A common view is the proposal that the employment of senior managers be not the responsibility of councils, but there must be a panel which is like an agency from the national government that is going to be overseeing the recruitment, interviewing, and placement of all the senior managers, so that it becomes a professional conduct once you have been employed, other than being hired by a political sphere of the councillors. And thirdly, we share a common view with the AG, the competency of our mayors, because they account of millions of rand as budget. They must be in a state of able to comprehend and understand what they are dealing with. In terms of holding the administration accountable, if they don't have certain competence educationally, it becomes difficult. So now, the reviewed white paper must talk to certain requirements of competency for a speaker, for a mayor, deputy mayor, the executive committee members, in order to ensure that if you pay them sufficient remuneration, but also this goes together with the competency. It was a good meeting. We are going to call this meeting again once we have finalized the consultation, because we do not want a process that will receive objection when we say concluded. Before we finally put a full stop, we will come again, because engaging people is what is good, because you learn to understand their views and what they value most in terms of making the local government functional.
When you look at local government, Minister, I'm going to use Ekurhuleni as a prime example, and Tshwane right now, where there is an issue over the appointments of the senior executive management of these municipalities. In Ekurhuleni, it's the issue of the CFO saying that 2 councillors were in the panels when it should have actually been 1. Will this not reduce the power of councils of councils in these municipalities. Tembinka Dimeng, on behalf of the ANC, spoke about reducing the power of these councils, because sometimes you have delinquents who are in charge of these councils who will not be able to diagnose a problem and solve it within the municipality. Will their power be weighed down?
The moment you make the employees professionals, it doesn't matter whether you interviewed them or not as a councillor, because there will be guiding rules, principles of what a municipal manager must do. He or she will have to meet certain competencies, and an independent panel can produce the best outcome without being influenced by any political views. That is why we feel, in order to deal with the over-politicization of staff, there need to be a change in as far as the recruitment of senior managers is concerned. Once you have recruited senior managers outside the political space, they will be able to recruit the junior staff that is going to serve them. Because if they don't perform, there can be a process that how do you charge a manager or a senior manager who is not performing until you get rid of him or her. So there is going to be no problem. The whole idea, professionalize the employment of staff so that you get the best that will produce the best outcome for the municipalities to be fully functional.
Minister, just your last words, particularly on the disaster within the Eastern Cape, in the Umtata or Tambo district region of the Eastern Cape. Just your words, what's the latest within that particular front when it comes to the relief programs that you are bringing in as Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, working with other ministries to those destitute people of Tambo district?
Our last meeting was yesterday evening, the Intergovernmental Committee on Disaster Management, which I chair, and we are meeting every 2 days. And we are satisfied. One, in terms of progress, in terms of identification of the deceased. As we know that as of yesterday, the number was around 6 people still outstanding. Another approach is being developed now in order to identify the outstanding people who have not been identified by any relative. In terms of intervention, all government departments are on board, especially the elderly and the children who are below the age of 1 year are currently located in various BNB for a period while emergency accommodation is being done. I'm hopeful in a short space of time they will be relocated to the areas. The only challenge that we are working with is the availability of land, because human settlement cannot put up a temporal housing unit on a flat plain, because if it rains tomorrow, it's going to be washed away. So now there are plots of land which have been identified. There is an engagement with the traditional institution, with public works, and with municipalities in areas where they belong to municipalities. All departments, both in Eastern Cape and KwaZulu-Natal, are finalizing the quantification of the damage in terms of the infrastructure that was destroyed. I indicated when I was in Eastern Cape that on the 7th of July, I intend to release the disaster interventions. I'm still standing on that date, provided the 2 provinces submit on time, we verify the submissions they make, and then we look at the disaster relief fund that we have, because the advantage is at the beginning of the financial year, we do have resources. The problem is that you can't just simply dish them out without information that is tangible, that has been verified, in order to avoid corrupt activities. Because people do take chances when there is a disaster. We are doing all it can to ensure that we safeguard that the resources go to real needy people. And in terms of donations from various sectors, we have agreed that there is a team that records all donations, could it be food, could it be clothes, and even could it be money, because there will be money coming forth so that there is transparent accountability as to where this money went to and what it do, where it is said it went to.
Thank you for answering that question, because my next one was going to be, what systems are you putting in place to make sure that ayikho imali ehla ngomlenze iye ephaketheni lomuntu othini?
We became very clear to our officials